Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Dan Hilton. I am with the American Supply Association. I'm their Director of Government Affairs. I'd like to welcome everyone to the webinar and thank everyone for participating this morning. Just a couple of reminders and administrative notes. At any time, if you have a question, at the bottom right of your screen, you'll see a question box. Please feel free to type a question at any time. This is being recorded for future use, so those that aren't able to be with us today, we'll be able to make this available to send out to those folks anytime, and you can review it as well with you and your peers. So again, good morning. Thanks for taking your time out. This will be about 45 minutes. I'll have you back at your desks in about, or away from your desks in about an hour. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is lobbying? What will you be doing in Washington, D.C.? Lobbying for your industry and your company's future. So just what exactly is lobbying? It really takes about three different forms. You're lobbying for legislation that you want to pass, lobbying against legislation that you want to pass, or lobbying for changes in an existing law. We're going to be doing a couple of these. Certainly the first one, lobbying for legislation we want to pass, as well as hopefully making some changes to some regulations that are coming down the pike. Some of those issues we'll talk about down in a couple of slides to go. To begin, this is a low-stress morning. These are sales calls. Rather than selling a product, we're going to be selling positions. We want you to feel comfortable with your member of Congress. At the end of the day, you're talking about your business, your company, and your industry with your member of Congress. As we know, we don't always make a sale on the first day, unless obviously you're an exceptional salesman. But you know, just like today, the customer is well informed. They're hearing from both sides of the argument, and we want to make sure that you're well prepared. And you know, one of the things we often hear, one of the excuses most often we hear when they fail to act or they refuse to act is they say, you know, I'm not really hearing about this back home. Well, this is your opportunity to bring the issues to their attention, to let them know what's most important to you in your industry. It's proven in survey after survey that that the single most useful resource of information comes from constituents, from folks like you. So what are we going to be talking about? Overtime regulations that we know are moving fast. E-fairness and water infrastructure. We often say that ours is an industry built on relationships. This is just one more opportunity to build on a relationship. And as we know, relationships take time. They take time to grow and take time if they're going to benefit both parties. You know, it's important to remember that your member of Congress can be extremely helpful, regardless of party affiliation. But it takes time to build that relationship and this is that opportunity to go in and visit with that member of Congress for many of you for the first time explain who you are and what our industry is and what your role in the community is. You know, one of the things we hear most often on the campaign trail, one of the 3 or 4 words that resonates most common is, I've made a payroll. A lot of people on this phone call, many people on this phone call have made a payroll. They signed the front of the check. That is an extremely impressive and authoritative voice in Washington, D.C. You've, especially the past 5 years, with the housing industry that we've gone through, now the energy industry that's going through, you've weathered a lot of storms and a lot of challenges, and that's extremely respected on Capitol Hill. The reality is you're responsible for the livelihood of hundreds, maybe thousands. And again, you're one of the most well-respected positions of authority in Washington. As we said before, this is a low-stress day. We don't expect you to change hearts and minds overnight. This truly is a marathon. It's those of you that watch the House of Cards. This isn't Frank Underwood in the dimly lit basement strong-arming one legislator to get them to vote. Legislation needs 218 votes to pass Congress, and it needs 218 just to get to the floor. Like I said, it is a marathon. It requires constant, sustained interaction, which is what we do each and every day in Washington. We provide updates when necessary. We check back with past supporters, because as we know, legislation may take many, many years to pass. It gets reintroduced every 2 years. We have to go back and find our old allies as well as find new allies, and offer support when needed, and provide resources to those that are thinking about supporting our issues. But at the end of the day, they will not jump unless they're pushed, and that's what we're here to do, is to help push them to understand our perspective and how it's important to our unique industry. So what's our goal? Our goal obviously is yes. We want them to say yes to supporting our legislation. That's, in baseball terms, that's a home run. But there's also ways we can get singles, doubles, and triples, and that's also productive in scoring runs. And we're going to talk about that at our conclusion. But we're there to make a concrete ask. Will you support our issues? Do you support our issues? And if not, what can we do to get you to support our issues? So let's get into how a fly-in actually works. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been making requests. We've got 162 requests made. We've got this is as of yesterday, we've got 92 confirmed. I believe that number has risen. We probably have about 100 meetings confirmed with about 35 states. Typically, what we've got is you'll have 3 meetings, 2 with your 2 state senators or senator staff, 1 with your representative. Now, it's important it's with your representative from your headquarters. We've heard from a number of you. It's not uncommon that you work in one congressional district and live in another. If you have others that you want to meet with, please let us know. This is part of that opportunity to reach back and in touch with me to let us know if you want additional meetings. We have, as I said, we're about 80% confirmed. We have a lot of delegations that we're just waiting on about 1 meeting. If you'd like to learn more about where we stand in the process, you can certainly follow up with me offline. Right now we're briefing and educating the AD members here. Traditionally, that's usually done on site, either the morning of or even the day prior. Good news is we've got a senator from the state of Wisconsin who's going to be speaking to you, and I think you'd much rather hear from him than hear from us. But we want to get to you and get this information to you as early as possible to help mitigate any questions or concerns that you may have. Let's see. Meeting with a member or staff. Now, many of your meetings are with a member of Congress, but that can change. They typically have meetings set in 15 to 20 to 30-minute increments. They often they get pulled out into floor votes. They get pulled out into committee hearings. So that they are really a moving target. As a former staffer, I can tell you that we understand and we know that the constituents were there to meet with a member of Congress, and we know that they didn't want to meet with the staffer. Unfortunately, that unfortunately is how it works sometimes. But I will tell you that a lot of the staffers, I would not underestimate them. Half the Supreme Court used to be congressional staffers. Paul Ryan used to be a congressional staffer. I just learned that the FBI director used to be a congressional staffer. So these are some pretty impressive folks that you're going to be meeting with. Key thing with meeting, especially a member of Congress, is to be flexible. As I said, they may get called out. You may start meeting with them, and then they may have to leave. You may start meeting with the staffer, and they may come visit with you. They may be at a committee hearing, or they may be voting, and their staff is going to bring you to them. That's up to them to bring them to you. You don't have to find where they are, but it's a very I won't say chaotic, but it requires a lot of flexibility. Let them know what you're there to talk about. There are some the issues we're talking about. We'll talk about that later, but staffers generally have specific amounts of expertise. I would, as you're sitting down, breaking the ice, say, what issues do you handle for the congressman? What issues do you handle for the senator? Just to see, maybe gauge if they will be a subject matter expert on any of the particular issues. If they're an environmental expert, they know about the water issue, they may not know about labor or overtime. So that's just something to bear in mind. But identify what's of concern with you, and I would also work with the folks that you're with in your meetings. Think about what's most important to you. What is your passion? What is your expertise? And I would talk about that. We're making packets for you. We recommend leaving a packet with the member of Congress. But I would also know many of you have marketing materials. Bring those with you. Make those available to your member of Congress. It's not uncommon unless they are a plumber or they're in manufacturing or a home builder. They may not know about your company. This is your opportunity to share with them what your company is and to let them know your role in the community. Then finally, invite them to your place of business. We'll talk about more of this further down the road, but this is a good chance for you to show them your place of business. So going back to getting to yes, how do we get there? Our task is to be specific in our ask as possible, and then reminding them of your role in the community. Be specific. How many people do you employ? Will you increase hiring? Do you have any new products you're going to be rolling out? Any expansions? That's particularly helpful with some of the issues like overtime as well as e-fairness. Talking specifically about your role in the community. How it impacts your profitability. Ask for their support. Remember, they're not going to jump unless they're asked. Ask if not, how we can get their support. And again, educate them on your role in the community. One thing I would note is going back to members versus staff. The members of Congress are obviously very knowledgeable of the congressional district. However, staff may not be. I'm a good example. I'm from Central New York. I work for a member of Congress from Eastern North Carolina and West Texas. The staff in Washington may not be from your hometown. They may not be from your community. Their role is to know the policy issues and not the issues back home. So, but the member of Congress will, surprisingly, they'll really surprise you with their knowledge of their district. But you know, that's where they work and that's their base. So it's very important that they know that. So when you're finishing with your meeting, just a couple of follow-up notes. Follow-up is crucial. One of the things I want to mention is obviously they have Washington offices. They have offices back home as well. I would ask the name of the district director, and here's why. The last office I was with in West Texas was a massive district. He would actually fly a plane from one end to the other. It was so large, but they spend an inordinate amount of time in the car with this district director. This is the chance for that district director that you may have gotten to know to say, Congressman, I want to tell you about this company that we've never even heard of. We really need to go out and visit with this company. That district director is really the congressman's eyes and ears back home, and I would strongly suggest getting their contact information and following up with them. Say, I just met with the congressman up in Washington. I'd love to come in and visit with you. Love for you to come out and visit our facility. That's a great way to build the relationship. Certainly email them, copy us if you'd like, and again, invite the lawmaker or district director to your facility. You know, it's often said when the Oval Office is the greatest home court advantage in the world. You know, a member of Congress or a senator's office is not that much different. You're on their home court. Bring them to your home court. This is a great opportunity to show your company as well as your peers in the community. Invite them, invite your customers if you have a counter date to bring your member of Congress in. This is a great opportunity, and the relationship starts here in Washington. And then finally, take notes. You guys are intel gatherers for us. As I said, it takes 218 votes to pass any bit of legislation, but it takes just as much just to get legislation to the House floor. If we hear from you guys saying, you know, Congressman Smith needs more information, he's thinking about jumping, or Congressman Smith really opposes this issue, that's valuable information for us and the folks that we work with downtown. So what are we going to be talking about? Overtime regulations, water infrastructure, and e-fairness. Overtime. This is an issue. I want to be clear. This is an issue that isn't legislative. It's administrative. It is a regulation that they already have the authority to make and to change. We're lobbying on actually a couple of fronts. We are lobbying the White House and the executive branch to put a delay to the regulation. But there also is a piece of legislation that would stop it. But to be clear, this is a train that is moving. What exactly is that train? Right now, in order to qualify, you have to qualify for overtime. You have to make less than about $23,000. But what the rule will be changing is those making under $50,000 will be entitled to overtime. This is very important because as we know, a lot of our employees may be making under that. It's going to be folks. There'll be right now there's about 6 million people getting overtime. This is going to change to about 11 million people if this is not halted. Let's see. So what are the impacts if the rules go forward? Managers who are responsible for store operations and manage will be prohibited from performing tasks like customer service or training employees and non-exempt tasks. And this is a big one. They're going to have to track their activities. Not only will they have to track their hours and activities, but the managers above them, your HR, are going to have to track their activities. And this is, I think this is a very important. I think this is an action item that I would encourage you to go and talk with your HR or your CFO and find out how many would be impacted, what it might cost you. This is information that will be invaluable to bring to your member of Congress to share with them just how costly this will be, how much it will cost your company, what it might prevent you from doing any hiring, prevent you from doing expansions. We've heard from a couple of you that this would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars unbudgeted costs and prevent planned expansions. That is information that your member of Congress will be very, very, very keen to hear and to potentially help us with our issue. Another very important issue is must be remembered is there's no geographic adjustment. It's important to remember that where this is being written in Washington, D.C., $50,000 in Boston, which is Boston and most of the major markets, is about the same. $50,000 is the equivalent to $48,000. But then it really drops off. And the reality is their belief is that you as an employer are paying substandard wages to someone who's working extremely hard, maybe driving trucks or your warehouse supervisor, paying $29,000 in Tulsa. But what they don't realize is $29,000 in Tulsa is the equivalent to $50,000 in Washington, D.C. There was no true thought put into the geographic adjustments, and that's a very big concern for many of us here in Washington. Now we hear it quite often. My senator or my representative, they're far left or they're in the Tea Party. They're not going to be helpful. We often do judge our members of Congress on their political affiliation. But to be fair, we absolutely must seek out allies in all corners of Congress. We do work with both sides of the aisle on every issue. You can't get. It's very difficult to get any law passed on a partisan line vote. It requires bipartisan support. But here, as you can see before you, we do know for a fact that over 24 senators have written the White House and essentially asked them to put their foot on the gas to get this rule implemented as quickly as possible. Now, as I said, we know they won't be helpful. The truth is, I should say that our industry's really been caught up in the food service industry, in the retail industry. They will bring up examples of the manager at your local McDonald's. Well, he's called the manager. He may get paid a little bit more, but he's still cleaning toilets. He's still taking orders. He's still doing fries, and that's just not fair. But the truth is that's not our industry. And that's still, this is your chance and your responsibility to remind them that that's not us. We pay fair wages. And at the end of the day, this is taking opportunity. That's the key word here, is this is taking away opportunity from many of your employees. As we know, some of our employees, they may not have gone to a four-year school. They may have graduated from the School of Hard Knocks, but we've identified something in them where they've started on the warehouse dock, but then they've gone to, they've risen up to a warehouse supervisor, and they've gotten a salary. What that now means, though, is that they go from salaried back to hourly, and they have to track their hours, and really, erodes the opportunities that they've earned. So a couple of solutions here. There's legislation that would put a stop to this. We are obviously mindful that we don't believe the president is going to go ahead and sign this legislation. But what this does is this signals to the appropriators who are looking to defund this. They're looking to see how many people are supportive of this legislation to again, put a stop to enforcing this legislation and not funding this legislation. So our ask is that they co-sponsor the Protecting the Workplace Advancement and Opportunity Act. Again, keyword here is opportunity. This is taking away opportunities that our managers and our supervisors have earned throughout their career. Let's move on to our next item, our next issue. Sorry about that, folks. Water infrastructure. Now, as we know, water infrastructure has been in the news quite a bit. Our industry has taken quite a hit in the past couple of years. Certainly the no lead in plumbing has really impacted a number of you, and this is our opportunity to talk about this issue. That Congress, in fact, got it wrong. That they required many of you to take millions of dollars worth of products off your shelves because of the fear that lead was going to get into our waters, when we knew all along that it was going to be the underground subsurface infrastructure. And as the data bears out, we know that there's been a lack of investment, and there's billions of dollars needed to maintain both our wastewater infrastructure as well as our drinking water infrastructure. This is our chance to have a conversation on our industry. That we're for. In this instance, we're for this infrastructure spending. I think spending issues can be a very partisan battle, very ideologically aligned battle. But I think most of us can agree infrastructure is one case where we can make that is necessary. Not just improves our industry, but it gets the country on a more solid footing. So what are our solutions? There is legislation. Again, going back to the appropriations, add more money to it. We have an appropriation request in. Again, this is, a lot of folks are worried about being pegged with, he's gone to Washington, he's a big spender. This is where they need our support. This is where they need to hear from us and say, this is spending that we need. This is spending that you're not going to get labeled as a big spender, because it's needed, and as you see below, it's stimulative. But in addition, there's also legislation that would remove the caps on private activity bonds. This has been an issue that's introduced year after year that just can't seem to get traction. But I think, as I said, water infrastructure is in the news, and it is not going to go away. And this is a good issue for ASA and for AD in our industry. And finally, our last issue, e-fairness. This is an issue that goes back to 1992 with Quill versus North Dakota, that the states are not able to properly enforce the sales tax on out-of-state sellers. And this has been an issue that we joined the battle about 5 years ago, but this is an issue that is not going away. The fact is the government's picking winners and losers here between brick and mortar sellers and online sellers using the tax code. Customers browse your showrooms, and they use your employees' product knowledge and expertise, and then they go and get it online. And that's just not fair. At the end of the day, states are losing sales tax, not just through sales tax revenue. It's not just through the sales tax. Virtually everyone on this call is also a property owner. And virtually everyone on this call, their property taxes are not going down, probably staying the same or going up. That's also going into your local services that you're paying, that the online order fulfiller is not paying. So what we need to level this playing field by collecting sales tax on every sale. The solution, the Remote Transaction Parity Act. As I said, this has been an issue that's been around for quite some time, but we believe we've never been closer. It's passed the Senate. It obviously needs to be voted on again, so we know that it can pass. We know if there was a vote called tomorrow, it would pass the House. But that's our biggest challenge: is we need a vote. But what it would do, it would ensure financial security for local infrastructure. As I said, your local police, your local parks, recreation, schools, that's all supported by your sales tax, and that's what they need to be reminded. Many of these members of Congress worked in the State House. Many of them were in law enforcement, so they understand the state revenue issue. They just need to be pushed, and that's what we're there for. You'll likely hear that they'll vote for it. They'll say, I'm with you, I'll support it on the House floor, but that's the key. How do we get it to the House floor? How do we get a vote on that, Congressman? What can we do to get a vote on that? That's why you're here. We know that Congress must act. This is an interstate commerce issue that only Congress can solve, and we know this problem is not going away. As I said, this goes back to 1992 when Justice Anthony Kennedy was also a justice back then, and he has spoken out and he has invited the states to seek a legal challenge. About 19 states are now seeking various creative remedies to force sellers from out of state to collect and remit the sales tax. So as we know, if the Supreme Court were to act, if they were to throw out Quill versus North Dakota, that problem would not be solved. We need, in this instance, a national solution to solve this problem, and that's what we're here for. So what if they say no? We need to ask them what else you can do. Congressman, what else can you do for us? There's other things that they can do. Obviously, a home run is for them to co-sponsor our legislation, but there are other things they can do. For example, they can go talk to the chairman of our legislation. They can talk to, for example, with the Remote Transaction Parity Act. They can go talk to the Congressman Chaffetz and say, Congressman, I support this. I just can't add my name to it. There's no doubt that he is taking names. He's collecting a list to present to the speaker to say, these guys are with us. We've got 250 people who say they're with us. They just won't add our name to it. Let's call a vote. On overtime, they can call the labor secretary. We know members of Congress have called the labor secretary and have gotten involved on this. They don't even have to tell us that they're going to call, but they can call the labor secretary and say, I'm hearing an awful lot from my constituents about this. What's going on here with this overtime law? There are more things that they can do. We just have to push them to do those things. So wrapping up your meetings. As I said, ask for their support. While we're there not only to educate them, but we are there to ask for their support. Everything needs 218 votes to get to the House floor. It needs 218 votes to pass the House floor, 60 votes to get through the Senate. We need them to take a stand. I'll be honest, I've sat through countless meetings with the former members of Congress that I've worked for. They say far too many times, I came to Washington to make hard decisions, but the truth is they don't make those hard decisions. You need to ask them to support your small business, because this is important to us and to not just our industry, but your community. Again, ask them to visit your workplace, meet your employees, and see how these issues impact you firsthand. Many of you have showrooms. Many of you may sell to, if you're in the PDF sector, you sell to the local manufacturing factory or plant down the street. It clearly identifies your role in the community. Take pictures, of course. I can guarantee you some of you will probably end up on their Facebook pages. It's 2016. They all have Facebook pages. They all have other social media presence, Instagram. They'll take pictures of you, but I would certainly recommend you doing the same. Publish them in your company newsletters, on your websites, your social media, and please share those with us as well. Then ask them how you can help them. Remember, you're the subject matter expert here, and there are ways that you can help them. Letters to the editor, letters of thanks. When they know that they have your support, when they know that they have you as a backup, then it makes these decisions and this decision-making process much, much easier for them. And finally, a couple of reminders. I would certainly arrive early to your appointments, but not too early. As a former health staffer, I could tell you most offices do not open until 9 o'clock. Some are just turning off the phones at 9 o'clock. That's a lot of it's because of the traffic, but a lot of it the nature of the business. They work about 9 o'clock, but they'll also work late until about 9 o'clock at night. So I know we're an industry that gets up early, but unfortunately the hill is not. And that's a challenge we have to face. Once, as we say, plan to go through security. One important point. Once you're in these buildings, whether you're on the House side or the Senate side, once you're in your Senate building, do not leave. They're all connected to underground tunnels, and they're all very well illuminated. So you should conceivably only go through security once or twice. I wouldn't recommend trying to go through the Capitol. That's more of a challenge. But once you're in the buildings, don't leave unless you have to, because then you have to go through the security again. Which leads me to my next point. It goes without saying we may have just experienced the finals last night, but we call this period from beginning of March through Memorial Day. We call it March Madness for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's a lot of groups like you that will be on the Hill. There's also a lot of school groups. School groups take trips this time of year. The entrances will be very packed. You will see long lines at the main entrances. What I mean is, the main entrances on the main streets, up the grand staircase, you will see long lines. That's why I recommend looking for entrances on the street level. Remember, this is the United States Congress. These are the most publicly accessible buildings in the nation. They have street level handicap entrances that folks are not aware of that will be less populated. We'll make sure to get you some. We'll remind you of that on the 14th. Also, if you're not aware, the Capitol building divides the House and Senate. They are separated by a couple of blocks. With the meeting request, we've typically strived to make your Senate meetings during one early block, your House meetings during the later block. So you should not have to go back and forth. In some cases, you will have to go back and forth, but you shouldn't have to go from the House to the Senate back to the House. Although I know in some cases, unfortunately, you will. Finally, we're in the campaign season. A couple of points I would mention here. Obviously, as it says there, I would not talk about the campaign. Certainly would not talk about contributions. If you've made contributions, number one, they probably know it, but number two, I would not talk about that because it's legal. But secondly, here's another point. You may have 5, 15, 20 minutes with a member of Congress. If you start talking with them about their views on the election, their views on Donald Trump, before you know it, you've used up your 20 minutes. they're happy to talk about. The truth is, they're happy to talk about issues like that because it's not a big ask. They're able to successfully say, I gave them 20 minutes and I didn't have to talk to them about hard issues. I didn't have to make any commitments to them. That's why I would recommend not getting into the weeds on the campaigns, both nationally and locally. As I said, they know their districts very well. They know the mayor races. They know the races for county supervisor. I would urge you to avoid those only because that's the limited time you have to talk with them. So we're coming to our end. I know we have a couple of questions that we have, but one of the things I want to mention is one of the questions I'm often asked is, does our story resonate? Does this message resonate? And I would ask eBay. As most folks know, eBay is our #1 adversary at opposing the marketplace fairness, the collecting the sales tax through online sales. What eBay did is they went out and they interviewed 1,000 of their users, and they built an army of 520 storytellers, and they filtered them by strength. Who has interest in flying? Who's got comfort and a face for television? Who's got a face for radio? Who's got strong local ties? And what is their geographic relevance? And they've literally built an army of 520 of their storytellers. And as we know, we're still fighting this battle on marketplace fairness. So it absolutely does resonate. As I started out with talking about lobbying, we're there day in and day out. We write your biography, but you guys are your authorized biographers. Nobody knows your company, nobody knows your employees, and nobody knows your industry better than you. So we have a couple of questions here that I'm gonna see if we can get answered. I don't have the control. All right, so the question number 1 is, when will the AD members know who they will be meeting with? Will these be in the group format? That's a great question. Most of your meetings, you'll have your headquarters. The nature of a buying group is you don't typically share a congressional district with a peer business, a competitor of yours. So you'll be meeting with your individual member of Congress, but you'll be joined with others in your state. For example, the state of Pennsylvania or the state of Ohio. You'll be meeting with all of them with your senators or Senate staff. So again, your individual company will be meeting with your individual representative, but you'll be joining others in your delegation to meet with your senators. Another question here is a good question on dress code. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. Absolutely, I would suggest coat and tie. And I would say this. As I said, coat and tie, but every single person that you're sitting across from will be in a suit. So be as comfortable as you will be. They will be in a suit. one of the questions, and this one I'm going to have to look into. Will we be impacted by Democracy Spring? I've never heard of them. I guess they are a group that might be disruptive. That's a great question. As I said, we call this March Madness for a reason. There will be dozens, if not hundreds, of groups also meeting with their members of Congress at the same time, which is also an interesting opportunity. I've heard countless stories from folks who have gone on our fly-ins who were sitting in waiting rooms across from their neighbor or across from someone they do business with. So it's a high likelihood that you'll see people in your member of Congress's office that you live and work with each and every week. But to the specifics on being disrupted, that's a great question. ASA has I guess we have a history. This is one of the most historic landmarks in the country. As we know, there was a shooting last week on the Hill. There have been shootings before, so this is a very unpredictable yet very secure area that we just it's a very unpredictable environment. When we were there last spring, the gentleman decided to fly a gyrocopter, I believe, from Florida and land on the lawn of the United States Capitol when ASA was there in Washington, D.C. We can't predict these things, unfortunately. We can only prepare, I guess. Finally, one of the last questions on the subject of overtime, how will they impact congressional staffers? I think that's a fascinating question. In fact, I just read an article, and I will send this out. It will impact congressional staffers. Most congressional staffers do not make over the threshold. Many of them will make under 50,000, and they will have to track their hours, which means they may not be able to come in early. They may not be able to stay late. So that's certainly a great point that I would bring up to them. That the people you meet with may be impacted. The offices they will be impacted as well. And finally, one last question. Can we express our displeasure with the omnibus or other issues they may have supported? Once we discuss our issues, can we voice a displeasure like that? I would say certainly. I've often said in these presentations, this is your time. We provide you the resources and materials on issues that we believe would help your business, your industry. But when you're there in that office, you're not on a leash. You can say what you'd like. Mention to them that it hasn't been helpful. I'm not sure if the question means omnibus or the stimulus, which passed in 2010. The truth is, they may agree with you. If they're smart, they probably will agree with you and say, you know what, you're right. They weren't shovel ready. That one we got wrong, but I would just caution you, as I said before. A lot of these staffers most of them are pretty bright. We've had, particularly with the overtime issue, if they're a known strong member of the president's party, they are likely to push back, and I would just be mindful of that and be deferential and say we understand your position. You may not be supportive, but this is your opportunity to share with them the things that aren't working, the things that they're not getting right. So I'm going to look back in the queue to see if we have any more questions. So just had 2 more questions come in, which are good ones. Asking about the meetings. As we've said, we have about 162 requests out, about 100 confirmed. So we have, I would say, about a half dozen states are finalized. We're a couple of other ones, we're just waiting for 1 meeting to finalize that delegation. But if I have not said it, I would absolutely recommend following up with me. We're happy to share with you your meetings ahead of time. But as I said, right now the Congress is not in session, which means some of their staffers are not in session. So we're just waiting to hear back from them. That's the benefit of the individual that we have on site and on staff that is making the schedules. Is she has relationships with all of the schedulers. She will continue up until the morning of the appointment, say, hey, I haven't heard from you. Unfortunately, that's just reality. Is there are times that we won't hear back from them, but we continue to push them to confirm with us. But absolutely, follow up with me offline if you have any additional questions, or you want more questions on the issues. If you have issues with some of the items that you want to share with me, or want to learn more about your schedule, by all means, let us know. And I think that was, then finally, last question being, is this being recorded? That's a yes. This is recorded. We'll send this out. We have another issue. We have another question concerning water sense. There's been some pushback. We're not specifically lobbying on specifically water sense, but what I would say to this is water sense is an issue it's a program that was created during the Bush administration by the EPA, and it's very much like the Energy Star label. It gives products a stronger reputation and stronger preference when purchasing these products. It doesn't cost the government anything, but there are ideological concerns to creating new programs. As I said, the program exists. It hasn't been authorized by Congress. So conceivably, we could have an administration that zeroes out funding for it or does not support it. We don't see that as a strong threat, and we always would prefer congressional authorization, because that is the strongest force of law that is authorized by Congress rather than created administratively. But this is our opportunity to explain to them the benefits of things like water efficient water products. Then one more question on will we make available PowerPoint? Absolutely. This entire recording will be available, I believe, via YouTube, that we'll make available, so you can look at this, but you can also look at this PowerPoint as well. We should have other information papers for you as well. So with that, as you can see, my email address is here on the screen. We will have more time on Thursday morning, April 14th, but we want to make sure that we got a lot of this out of the way ahead of time to give you a chance to digest this, process it, and review some of the materials. And please follow up with me if you have any questions. We look forward to seeing you in a week, and we really appreciate AD's participation in this, and we think this will be a great day for folks to begin to build some relationships, or to maintain or improve existing relationships. I want to thank everyone for being on the call. Have a good day.